and be the guinea pig for this dollar a day DCA or dollar a day put away and mass buy when the MVRV score is at 0. So we'll get into that here in a second. So today is September 10th, 2025. We're on block height 914,094. Bitcoin's price to USD is currently at $113,783 per Bitcoin. And $1 gets you 879 sats. And we're at $2.27 trillion market cap. The MVRV score, it's like a day behind. So the MV score or the Z score is at 2.17. So in short, this indicator or this score is a Bitcoin chart that uses blockchain analysis to identify periods where Bitcoin is extremely over or undervalued relative to its fair value. So it uses these three metrics. The black line that we have up here is pretty much the market cap. So it's the market value, the current price of Bitcoin multiplied by the number of coins in circulation. This is like the market cap in traditional markets. Sharp price multiplied by number of shares. The blue line is the realized value. So rather than taking the current price of Bitcoin, realized value takes the price of each Bitcoin when it was last moved, the last time it was sent from one wallet to another wallet. It then adds up all those individual prices and takes an advantage of them. It then multiplies that average price by the total number of coins in circulation. In doing so, it strips out the short-term market sentiment that we have within the market value metric. It can therefore be seen as a more true long-term measure of Bitcoin value, which market value moves above and below depending on the market sentiment at the time. And the third indicator that we have on here is our Z-score. And so if you can see, it's a day behind. It was at 2.17, so that's about what we're at. So the orange line, the Z-score, is a standard deviation test that pulls out the extremes in the data between market value and realized value. So down here is kind of showing how it can be used. The Z-score has historically been very effective in identifying periods where market value is moving unusually high above realized value. These periods are highlighted by the Z-score entering the pink box and indicates the top of market cycles. It has been able to pick the market high of each cycle to within 2 weeks. It also shows when market value is far below realized value, highlighted by Z-score entering the green box. Buying Bitcoin during these periods has historically produced outsized returns. And then there's some more information. It was created by Awe and Wonder, who's got ghosts. Wonder where he's at. And it was built on the initial work by these two individuals right here. And you can read more about it. It was created in November of 2018. And then you can go down the rabbit hole and read some more of information on this if you would like to. So what I'm gonna do, I was gonna do, I like looking at the 200-week moving average. As you can see, all the way back to 2012, there's only been a few times that we've touched it or even dipped below it. So the 200-week moving average is also a great indicator, when we're touching it or below it, as great times to buy. And then I did a video already about how on the weekly, just looking at the RSI, anything below 30 is also considered a good time to buy if you go back in time. So I was thinking about how I wanted to do it, and on some research, a lot of people like the Z-score has been pretty great at predicting these things as well. So I'm going to look at all three, but I'm going to put $1 aside a day, and I'm going to figure out where I want to put that. I haven't decided yet, but I'm going to put $1 aside a day that I'm going to accumulate for when our Z-score gets to 0 and do a mass buy, and then continue to buy as we range in the 0 Z-score range. And then I'm also going to DCA $1 a day into Bitcoin, no matter what the price is. And we'll see how long I can keep this going so we can do a good comparison. So, I figured 2 good cycles would be great. I don't know if we're still going to follow the traditional 4-year cycle after the halving. So, for me to do this experiment, this is something that I'll have to do daily, right? I'll have to make sure I DCA daily and then put that money aside daily as well for the times that we hit these prices that are these levels that are considered great levels to buy at. And then we'll see who kind of comes out as the winner. So this is something I'm curious about for myself. And then I'm sure a lot of individuals out there would be curious as well. It's easy to go back in time and be like, yep, you could if you would have bought then. So I'm going to go ahead and put it to the test, and I'll be the guinea pig, and we'll see what happens. So I already did my dollar buy. So I have a spreadsheet here where, I'm going to put all the dates and stuff. And, today when I made my buy, show you guys right here. I just used Coinbase. I got pretty much robbed with the spread, and I know all that stuff. I need to get my strike back up and running to get those fees waived, or maybe use Coinbase Pro, or find somewhere else where I can get the most bang for my buck. I personally like to use Fold, but Fold doesn't allow you to do dollars. You have to do at least a minimum of 10 on their DCA or their buys. So it is what it is. As time goes on, I'll make sure I get the most bang for my buck. But until then, I'll just have to go with what I got and where I'm at and what I can do for now. So as you can see, this is the purchase I made today. This is the price that I got my buy-in at. This was their fee. I used Apple Pay. This is the total amount of Bitcoin I was able to accumulate. This is the time I purchased. And I'll also show when I accumulate, I'll use that because I don't use Coinbase. But if people do use Coinbase, whatever, use whatever you use. There's a lot of platforms out there. Right now, like I said, I'm just trying to get it going, just making sure I'm getting these buys, and we'll see. And then so for the Z score, I also have a category for that. I deposited, my $1 to the side. This was the Z score like we looked at, and then this is the weekly RSI. I'm also gonna put where we at, 58. So I think I need to update this to 58. And then I'm also going to put the 200-week moving average on here. Let's see. This is a few days behind, so we'll call it 52,268. 200-week moving average. Boom. So there we go. So I'm going to try to get these out daily, but I'm gonna make sure I get my buys in daily and get my screenshots for you guys. And like I said, we'll see as time goes on. So it's not going to be much motion going on. It's just going to be checking, seeing where we're at 200 weeks, seeing where we're at on the weekly RSI, seeing where our Z score is at, and then watching these blocks run up. We're almost at 1 million block height, which is really dope. It's going to be cool to get some buys when we reach 1 million. I'm sure a lot of people will buy heavily that day. But until then, I'll see you guys tomorrow.